I am Laura, the movie queen's ace agent. We have been in love for 6 years, quietly, secretly, hidden beneath lights and camera flashes. We never dared to make it public. She insisted that revealing our relationship would harm her career, and like the fool in love that I was, I agreed. Yet on the red carpet one night, she admitted to being in a relationship with her first love, some D-list actor no one even remembered. From that moment on, I became the biggest joke, the biggest cuckold in the entire circle. Later, when she lost everything, fame, fortune, status, she cried and knelt in front of me, begging me to pull her out of the abyss. But I walked away with the real love of my life, smiling, leaving no trace behind. Sorry, I told her gently as I passed, you're blocking the way of the real movie queen of my house. This is the 6th year of my secret relationship with movie queen Laura. When we first started dating, she said keeping us hidden would be best for her career, and as her agent, her most loyal supporter, I agreed. And then, on the very day of our 6-year anniversary, her first love Makoto came back. Everyone in the circle knows this man, this little so-called first love, was the white moonlight in her heart. Back then, Laura fought with her family because of him, causing a huge commotion. But Makoto, although good-looking, came from the most troublesome background imaginable. His entire family had the reputation of being thieves. Tell me, which parents would willingly let their precious daughter marry into such a family? Eventually reality crushed them. They broke up. When Makoto boarded the ferry to leave the country, Laura ran after him, crying, only to see his back, straight, determined, heartless. He didn't even turn around. Didn't even say goodbye. That scene became a thorn buried deep inside her heart. Later, Laura's family pushed her into the entertainment industry, and the entire love story was covered up by time. I met her when she entered my company. I was the ace agent, and she was the rookie with talent and a face that could kill. She said she fell in love with me at first sight, chased me relentlessly, and eventually we got together. With my connections, she landed roles in literary films, films that only top directors touched. She began winning awards. That night she received her first Best Actress award, crying on stage and thanking me, only as her agent, never as her lover. Later that night she drank a lot. When she stumbled into the bedroom, she hugged me around the waist like a spoiled child. Marco, am I standing high enough now? Can you see me? Don't leave me, okay? Her hands trembled as they touched my face, her gaze dreamy, emotional. But I didn't know at the time she wasn't seeing me. She was seeing someone else. I thought she was just overwhelmed by the award and laughed along with her. I didn't know anything then. Not until I later met Makoto face to face. Makoto, who looked so much like me it was as if God had played a sick joke. One thin veil, and you could mistake one for the other. Marco. Makoto. Of course she fell in love with me, at first sight. Of course she clung to me that night, eyes full of worship. She never saw me. She saw him. In her heart, these 6 years, were they ever truly mine? I had worked myself to the bone to build her career. But to her, I was just a backup. A placeholder. A grain of rice compared to her unreachable moonlight. Ridiculous. Pathetic. They reunited on a talent show. Laura was a guest mentor, Makoto a contestant. The moment he saw her on stage, he froze. Forgot his choreography entirely. The other mentors scolded him brutally. No background, no connections, no protection. Yet Makoto stood there, lower lip trembling, eyes fixed on Laura. Waiting. Hoping. I watched backstage, staring at Laura on the monitor. She didn't defend him, but her eyes were red. The joy of reunion mixed with years of buried grievance. A look I had never once seen directed at me. My chest felt tight, sour, bitter, like biting into an unripe plum. Makoto should have been eliminated, but Laura insisted he stay. Later that night, all advancing contestants attended a banquet. Laura and I went too. The room was filled with powerful old men and women, big names, big money, bigger appetites. Makoto, beautiful and fragile, attracted attention immediately. Soon a wealthy, obese woman, one of the show's biggest investors, wanted him as a toy. She beckoned at him with her fat fingers, smirking, wanting him to drink wine mouth to mouth. What a handsome boy! Come serve your auntie. Makoto's face turned pale. I felt a little schadenfreude, Until I saw Laura. She was more distressed than he was. Her nails dug into my palm under the table, drawing blood before she even noticed. Just as the woman leaned forward to kiss Makoto, Laura exploded. "Enough. What are you doing? It's disgusting. This banquet itself is my greatest humiliation." She grabbed a glass of red wine and splashed it across the investor's face. "Laura, you're drunk." I tried to pull her back, but she shoved me aside, grabbed Makoto's hand, and left. Just like that, leaving me behind to clean up the mess. That night, apologizing and drinking endlessly to pacify the investor, I collapsed with a bleeding stomach. People whispered around me as I fell. "Mako, isn't Laura your woman? Being cuckolded openly must feel worse than this wine. You can't even control the woman you made famous. What kind of man are you?" Before I passed out, I vaguely sensed someone touching my face, maybe a kind waitress. When I woke up in the hospital the next day, Laura still hadn't sent a single message. Not one. Makoto returned and she forgot everything else. I left the hospital early and went to her place. Her car was there. Perfect. I wanted to talk about us, about my contract renewal. "Makoto, don't go, please." I froze. They were in the yard, tangled together. Laura hugged him from behind, eyes red, voice pleading. A voice she had never used on me. "You already have a fiancé," Makoto said coldly. "After leaving me, you dated that man for 6 years, right? Do you know what I endured abroad? I was beaten daily, barely survived. I came back just to live. Why did your mother look down on me for being poor?" He pretended to be hurt, but from where I stood, I saw the smirk on his lips. Laura clung to him like an octopus. "No. I don't love him. I don't love that man. He's just my agent. Makoto, he just looks like you. My heart has always been yours. I'll change agents. I'll do whatever you want." Who would have thought the proud movie queen could become this humble? Who would have thought I, Marco, the top agent in the industry, was only ever a substitute? Makoto pulled her close and kissed her, then looked directly at me, victorious. I sneered, didn't even step inside, and turned around. May the two of you, pretentious coquette and pathetic simp, rot together forever. Laura, between us, I'm not sure who replaced whom anymore. After that day, scandals exploded online. Rumors that she kept a little lover in a luxury apartment, Makoto. His dark past surfaced quickly. Imprisoned parents, impregnating a classmate, dropping out, street fights. Public opinion turned into wildfire. I did nothing to stop it. In the past, one word from me and PR teams would mobilize instantly. But this time, I let it burn. Let Laura and Makoto enjoy the spotlight together. When colleagues called to ask about the scandal, I simply said, "I'm not sure. Laura and I already ended our contract." 3 days later she called, finally remembering my existence. "Mako, what kind of agent are you? Do you see the insults online? Are you doing this on purpose? You're truly malicious." Her hysterical voice filled the line. But when she was clinging to Makoto, did she remember me? "Miss Laura," I said calmly, "our contract expired long ago." "What? When?" "I never heard. While you were busy flirting with your white moonlight." Silence. "We're done," I said. "Work, feelings, everything. Completely over." I hung up, then blocked her. The world suddenly felt clean. Laura vanished from the internet soon after. Meanwhile, I resigned from the company. With my reputation, top companies lined up with offers. I didn't even need to try. Half a month later at a film festival, I saw her again. She walked the red carpet with Makoto, arm in arm, fake smiles plastered on their faces. Her dress was cheap. Without me, she couldn't even secure a designer gown. Reporters asked, "Miss Laura, are you and Mr. Makoto announcing your relationship tonight?" Makoto kissed her cheek smugly. "Let's keep it a secret for now. I want to announce it on the awards stage." The internet has a memory, but a selective one. They forgot everything. They only remembered I was the man who had been with her for 6 years, and was now a public joke. A reporter suddenly turned toward me. I heard Laura's agent Marco was rumored to be her partner. Is this true? Or are you and Makoto part of an affair scandal? Laura paled, eyes darting to me anxiously. Fear, pleading, and warning. She was terrified I'd say something that would ruin her new romance fantasy. But I was calm. I wasn't going to make a scene. Sorry, I said, smiling. I have resigned. Nothing more. Later backstage, someone handed me the winners list. Best Actress, Laura. Oh yes. I remembered. That vote happened before we fell out. Because of my connections, even her mediocre film could take home an award. Funny, isn't it? In the end, I created the movie queen. And I walked away just in time to watch her lose herself completely. But now she had foolishly severed all ties with me. She actually thought that having won Best Actress once made her the queen of the entertainment industry. A queen? Huh. She wasn't even worthy of being a foot washer. I looked coldly at the organizers, pointing at Laura's name. Someone like her worthy of Best Actress? My tone was ice, sharp enough to make them tremble. After all, they had the hosting rights only because of my influence. Then, shall we change it? They asked cautiously, trying to appease me. I nodded, letting my gaze sweep across the row of actresses, feeling a surge of emotion when it settled on a familiar face. No, I said finally. Let's choose based on merit. The award ceremony began as scheduled. Soon it was time to announce Best Actress. And now, the winner of the Best Actress at this film festival is... I sat in the front row, casually glancing back. Because of my previous promise, Laura's posture was perfect, subtle adjustments to her confidence betraying nothing. Huh. Fool. You already betrayed me, and you still think I'd let you win this award? You think you could flaunt it, announce to the world that you cuckolded me, and claim victory? The Best Actress is... Let's congratulate Lisa. The camera focused on a serene, radiant woman standing under the spotlight. Lisa. She looked stunned for a moment before gracefully rising, smiling as she accepted the award. Behind her, a venomous glare burned toward me. But I didn't even bother to turn. I knew it was Laura's silent curse. Marco. What do you mean? You clearly said the Best Actress award was mine. I had barely stepped away when she blocked my path on the way to the restroom. Her face twisted with rage, beautiful once, now a mask of fury and disbelief. I've told you before, Laura, I said, my voice low and sharp. You became a Best Actress because the man behind you was me. Without me, you are nothing. Her pride, so long unchallenged, shattered visibly. You bastard. You just want revenge, right? Huh. Let me tell you, I'll be fine without you. Her words frenzied, her hands raised in rage. I grabbed her hand sharply, slapping her back, not lightly. A red mark bloomed across her cheek. You dare hit a woman? She hissed, disbelief and shock mingling in her voice. I sneered, wiping my hand as though it had touched something dirty. I don't hit good women, I said coldly. But for a slut like you, I hit one when I see one. Get lost. This is the men's restroom. Do you want to be on tomorrow's headlines? Laura attacks men's restroom? She fled in panic. I spat lightly, preparing to return to the venue, my mind already moving on. But in the hallway, a familiar voice stopped me. I turned and saw Lisa, glowing in a white gown, quietly looking at me. Did you give me this award? She asked softly. Marco, are you planning to use this award to crush me again? Lisa was my first love. We met at a banquet, where she was a minor actress trying to secure film investments. A coal boss investor leered at her, trying to take advantage. But Lisa, pure as jasmine, refusing to yield even as insults flew and the filthy man pressed her against the table. I picked up a wine bottle and smashed it on the pervert's head. The red liquid splashed, wine or blood, I didn't care. The man groaned and fled. I was Marco, sole heir of the Wong business empire. Being an agent was just a hobby. Lisa was grateful and we became close. She loved acting, not fame, not power. I loved that about her, the simplicity, the purity. She became my artist and my lover. Fans saw her as a high cold goddess, elegant and untouchable, But with me, she was shy, gentle, trembling in my arms. "Mako, I love you. I love you so much." Her soft voice was like candy, irresistible. But later, I suggested our breakup. Cliff edge, ruthless. With me gone, Lisa's connections vanished. Her career faltered. "Why, Mako? Yesterday you were talking about proposing." Her voice trembled, eyes brimming with tears. I looked away, cruel words spilling. "Why?" "Because I'm tired of you. You're a bumpkin who's never seen the world. A little sweetness, a wave of the hand, and you come running. Look at your background, Lisa. Everything you have is because of me. What right do you have to be with me?" Most girls would have cried and fled. Lisa hugged me instead, her tears soaking my shirt, her posture humble and broken. "I don't believe it. If you truly felt this way, why did you save me back then?" I sneered, lifting her chin, lightly patting her cheek. "I wanted to see you rise to the top, then fall back to dust. Amusing, isn't it? The taste of being lifted up and destroyed. This is who I am. Nothing you do will change it." I shoved her away, then threw $1 million check in her face. "Get lost. Breakup fee. Keep it." She froze. I strode into the pouring rain, only the driver witnessing the young master cry silently against the storm. Years later, I saw her again. In the arena of fame, fortune, and false smiles, the power of white moonlight remained immense. Lisa, no longer delicate jasmine, now a radiant white rose. My heart raced. I wanted to ask her how life had treated her, her movies, the misunderstandings of the past. But the usually eloquent me faltered. I only managed, "No. This is what you deserve." And it was true. She had endured all these years alone. Lisa, the best among actresses, deserving Best Actress more than a vase like Laura ever could. "Do you think I would believe you?" Lisa asked, her eyes red, eyebrows just as proud as I remembered. "Do you see me as a tool to make Laura jealous?" "Laura?" I frowned. "What does she have to do with this? How can you compare to her? A superficial vase like Laura could never compare to you." Lisa frowned, irritated, storming away, lifting her dress in anger. Her temper had only sharpened with time. I called after her, voice soft. "Congratulations on winning Best Actress." Her only response was the clack of high heels, stomping away. Still, so adorable. News of Lisa's win quickly flooded entertainment headlines. A pure actress without backing, achieving success, naturally attracted rumors. Especially since she had just offended Laura. Headlines screamed, "Lisa steals Laura's Best Actress title. Lisa becomes a toy for a big shot." Laura secretly hired trolls. The comments were venomous. "Oh my God, she's so shameless. This Best Actress award clearly belonged to Laura. Pretending to be innocent. Who knows how many people she slept with behind the scenes." Yeah, the award was originally Laura's. She even had her name engraved on the trophy. But Lisa snatched it away. The insults weighed like a mountain on Lisa's shoulders. Overnight, she became the biggest sinner in the eyes of the public. I scrolled through the chaos in my office, coldly smiling. "Brother Wong, is it time?" My assistant knocked. I nodded. Soon, as the online abuse peaked, an influential blogger finally spoke up for Lisa. Watching the movie, Lisa's performance was excellent. She brought the role to life far better than that vase Laura. Who is the real protagonist of this drama? Public opinion began to shift. Opportunistic netizens immediately countered. Lisa must have a backer. I saw her backstage, overly familiar with a high-ranking man. Pure women don't exist in this industry. If she's innocent, prove it. I realized it was time to make things official, to protect someone deserving. Meanwhile, Laura and Makoto stood smug, hand in hand, watching the online backlash. Their revenge, their gloating, only intensified my sense of aversion. How had I ever spent 6 years with someone like that? "This tactic is like harming yourself to hurt your enemy," I muttered to myself. "Lisa won't care. And you too. I see only perfect fools." "What did you say? You dare insult me?" Makoto lunged, enraged, shoving Laura aside, fist raised. I didn't flinch. I simply pointed behind him. Oh look, when did the reporters get here? Instantly, his demeanor shifted. No one behind him. He snarled. He lunged. But just as his fist would have connected, a loud click. Real reporters had arrived. His violent act was captured live. In an instant, Laura's careful construction of his image collapsed. Marco, after all these years, must you push me this far? Laura pleaded, hugging herself, negotiating, softening. I smiled faintly. Laura, it's morning. Time to wake up from your daydream. I cut her off, genuinely amused by her audacity. I had never seen anyone so shameless. As security escorted her out, Laura continued shouting at me, her voice full of venom. Marco, if you help Lisa bully me, I will make sure neither of you has it easy. A joke. Who would make whose life difficult was yet to be determined. Hiss, be gentle, I muttered to myself, wincing as Lisa applied medicine to the wound on my face. After the earlier commotion, I hadn't even noticed how long she had been standing outside the door, watching. She had only come over after everyone else had left. Now you feel the pain, she said softly. Why didn't you dodge the punch earlier? Did it make your heart ache? She added, concern flickering across her face. You're such a smooth talker, she whispered, her hand trembling slightly as she applied the medicine. When I held her hand, she didn't resist. Instead, her eyes reddened, glistening under the dim light. Laura targeted you, I said quietly, and I'm sorry you had to suffer, Lisa. Hearing this, Lisa's previously straight-backed composure softened entirely. She looked aggrieved, a mixture of exhaustion and relief in her expression. After all, she had earned this award purely through merit, yet Laura's jealous rage had subjected her to unrelenting online abuse. Every insult, every slanderous comment, had accumulated like snowflakes, forming a crushing snowball that Lisa had endured alone. My concern, my simple acknowledgement, caused her emotions to shatter completely. She sniffled, crying as she threw herself into my arms. I held her tightly, stroking her hair and gently wiping away her tears. Lissy, let's get back together, I murmured, as if she were a precious treasure. Those 6 years with Laura, though fulfilling in terms of career, had left me emotionally disconnected. I had never truly understood the meaning of love, until the moment I reunited with Lisa. My heart pounded as I held her, and for the first time in years, I felt alive. Are you lying to me again, Marco? Are you going to deceive me like before? Lisa whispered, still clinging to me, hesitant to let go. Are you going to lift me high and then let me fall hard again? Is your father's uremia cured? I asked softly. Lisa froze. She hadn't expected me to know. A kind person helped. How did you know? Could it be? I sighed and began to tell her everything, finally releasing the resentment and grief I had bottled up for so long. Back then, her father had been suffering from uremia, desperately needing a kidney to survive. At the peak of her career, Lisa had hidden this from me to avoid worrying me. But where could she have found a compatible donor with her connections? Meanwhile, someone had informed my father about our relationship. He was a businessman who looked down on actresses and used the situation to coerce me into leaving her. I still remembered his authoritative face. If you leave that woman and agree to pursue Laura, he had said, I will ensure a suitable kidney for Lisa's father and cover all expenses. At that time, I hadn't yet taken control of the business. I had no choice but to leave Lisa, speaking the harshest words imaginable. As I spoke now, I noticed my chest was wet. Looking down, I saw tears streaming from Lisa's eyes, just as they had the day I left her. Lisa, do you still blame me? I asked gently, holding her face tenderly. I do blame you, she whispered, striking me lightly with her fists, her voice choked with tears. I blame you for not telling me earlier. We got back together, but the news exploded online immediately. The headlines were brutal. Shamelessly woman hooks up with Wong family's old boss, caught as a mistress. The accompanying video allegedly showed Lisa getting into a Wong Group car, with some blurry, suggestive footage. Upon checking, I realized it was over 10-year-old footage from a TV drama, faces AI swapped to look like Lisa and my father. The comments were grotesque. Wow, Lisa really does have strong backing. That old Wong man is over 70 and she still wants him. Must be starving. Such a woman will stop at nothing, even eating anything to get what she wants. She used to pretend to be pure, but she's just a slut. I closed the video, headache throbbing, and immediately sent a link to the Wong Group's legal department. Meanwhile, I received a text from Makoto. You're still far from being able to fight us. Fools. The scheming in the entertainment circle was child's play. But daring to mess with the Wong Group? They were striking a steel plate with their bare hands. As the online chaos continued, I kept Lisa silent while the Wong Group issued 2 official releases. The first, a formal statement declaring we would take legal action against the rumor mongers, including a lawyer's letter. The names of the defendants were clear, Laura and Makoto. The second, an announcement of our relationship. Short and simple, only a few words. No backing. Just a good wife. A picture of our marriage certificate accompanied the post. There could be no more dignified way to declare love than having it on the front page of a major corporate website for 7 days. This dignity was what I wanted for Lisa, after all the suffering she had endured. But that was only the beginning. I used my connections in the entertainment industry to expose Laura and Makoto's past scandals. Everything I had previously suppressed, cheating, fake awards, fraudulent donations, was brought to light. Makoto's carefully crafted image collapsed overnight. The fat woman who had flirted with him at the banquet still harbored resentment. She revealed Makoto's numerous misdeeds abroad. He had not been driven away by Laura's family, but had taken money from them while living extravagantly with an American woman, even fathering a mixed-race child, all while still involved with Laura. His reunion with Laura had been staged, a desperate attempt to cover his tracks. Lisa and I read through the scandal online together, and I couldn't help but applaud. Truly, it was more dramatic than any movie. Laura and Makoto became wanted by the police for malicious defamation. After everything was exposed, Laura and Makoto had a huge fight. In a fit of rage, Laura stabbed Makoto in the stomach. When the police arrived, they found him barely alive in a pool of blood, and Laura was gone, a fugitive. No longer a movie queen. Her awards, long revoked by the committee, were set to be reissued at the upcoming film festival. Before accompanying Lisa on the red carpet, I discovered a shadowy figure in the dressing room. Dragging her into the light, I realized it was Laura. Haggard, filthy, and foul-smelling, she must have been hiding in garbage dumps to evade the police. I pinched my nose in disgust and shielded Lisa behind me. Her gaze was wolfish, venomous. "Mako, please save me," she whimpered. "My family has abandoned me. Don't you still love me? Save me." She stumbled toward me, her smile twisted and ugly. I kicked her to the ground. "I'm married now, lady. What delusional dream are you still having? Mako, ungrateful scoundrel. Without me, the movie queen, what would you be as an ace agent? I am your glory, your badge. And that vase behind you is nothing." Calling me fickle, blaming me for leaving her, she erupted with rage. I sneered, grabbing her throat and glaring coldly. "Laura, I did consider it. I thought about loving you sincerely, about marrying you. But you, all these years, you only saw me as a substitute for Makoto. You were blind to treat me like that bastard. When you used Makoto's photo as your chat background, engraved his initials on our ring, did you ever think about me? Laura, people like you don't deserve happiness." I looked down at her as if she were trash, then threw her aside. She staggered and fell to the ground. Lisa calmly wiped my hands, while Laura sobbed on the floor. "Bitch. It's all because you seduced Marco that he stopped loving me," she screamed. "I hate you. I hate you both." Suddenly, a sharp scream rang out. Laura had raised a blood-stained knife, charging at Lisa with murderous intent. Bang! The next second, she screamed in pain. Her hand had been shot, leaving a bloody hole. The police, arriving just in time, subdued her easily. Lisa had called them secretly, ensuring they would intervene. With Laura escorted away, it was finally time to walk the red carpet. I held Lisa's hand, walking past the disheveled, defeated Laura. Smiling, I whispered softly, "Sorry, you're blocking the real movie queen's way." The flash of cameras, the glittering lights of the red carpet, and the murmurs of the crowd blurred into nothing as I held Lisa's hand tightly. Every step we took was a statement, of victory, of justice, and of love that had endured every betrayal and insult. She walked beside me, elegant yet understated, the perfect combination of strength and vulnerability, a phoenix risen from the ashes of malicious rumor and envy. The press cameras clicked incessantly. "Mr. Wong, congratulations! Is this your first red carpet with Miss Lisa as your wife?" one reporter shouted. I smiled faintly, holding Lisa close. She's always been the real star. Even in the glare of the public eye, I noticed her nerves. Lisa was still adjusting to this world of flashing lights and calculated smiles, but she didn't flinch under my protective presence. This was her moment, and I was determined no one would take it from her, not even the ghosts of our past. Meanwhile, the chaos we had unleashed on Laura and Makoto rippled through the industry like an unstoppable storm. The old scandals, once carefully hidden, now dominated headlines. The audience, who had once applauded Laura as a queen of cinema, now whispered about her fugitive status and Makoto's shocking betrayal abroad. For the first time, the entertainment circle learned that influence and charm could only last so long when the truth came crashing down. Lisa glanced at me, her hand gripping mine. "Marco, is it really over?" she asked softly. Her eyes searched mine, half fearful, half hopeful. "For them? Absolutely. For us? Only if you let it be," I replied, tilting her chin up gently. "I've waited a long time for this, Lissy. I'm not letting anything take it away from us again." Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. I'm so tired of being hurt. I never want to feel that way again." "You won't," I whispered. "Not with me. Not ever." Behind us, the whispers of the press and the flash of cameras continued, but we were in our own world. Even the old industry titans, who had tried to manipulate careers like pawns, could do nothing against the power of truth, strategy, and genuine talent combined. Lisa was no longer just an actress. She had become a symbol, resilient, untouchable, and victorious. Later, as we exited the red carpet, I made a call. "Prepare everything. Laura and Makoto's assets will be frozen immediately. Public trials will begin next week. I want them to face the consequences of every lie, every betrayal, and every scandal they orchestrated." Lisa looked at me, a mixture of admiration and awe. "You've really thought of everything, haven't you?" I smiled faintly, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "Years of experience. And a little patience. Revenge isn't just about punishment, it's about balance. About making sure the scales finally tip the way they should." In the days that followed, Laura's name became synonymous with disgrace. Every scandal we unearthed was picked apart by the media. Her bribed awards, her fraudulent charity donations, Makoto's secret life abroad. Public opinion, which had once been manipulated against Lisa, now turned fiercely against Laura and Makoto. Even her old allies abandoned her, unwilling to touch the fallout with a 10-foot pole. Meanwhile, Lisa's reputation soared. Awards committees publicly acknowledged her talent, and even former skeptics began praising her resilience. Her social media accounts were flooded with messages of admiration, congratulations, and respect. But the sweetest victory wasn't the accolades. It was the knowledge that she had survived, thrived, and reclaimed her dignity all on her own, with me by her side. One evening, after a long day of interviews and ceremonies, Lisa and I sat in our private suite overlooking the city lights. She leaned her head against my shoulder, soft and warm. "Marco, do you think it will ever end? The scheming, the backstabbing?" "Not completely," I admitted. "But now we're the ones writing the rules. And with our truth on the front page, no one can touch us without consequences." She tilted her head, her eyes meeting mine with a quiet, unshakable trust. "I can finally believe it. I can finally trust it." I smiled, brushing my lips across her forehead. "Then we start a new chapter. One where you shine not because of anyone else, but because of who you are, and I'll be right there with you. Not as a substitute, not as a shadow, but as your partner, your protector, and your biggest fan." Lisa smiled softly, the kind of smile that could melt the coldest hearts. "I like that chapter," she whispered. And so, under the gleaming city lights, amidst the chaos of a ruthless industry, we began a new era. Lisa, finally free from envy, betrayal, and manipulation, reclaimed her crown not as a queen granted by others, but as the one who truly earned it. And I, after years of hidden devotion and silent labor, finally claimed my reward. Not wealth, not influence, but the love of the woman who had endured everything with grace, and who would now walk beside me, unbreakable and untouchable. As for Laura and Makoto, the world was about to teach them the same lesson we had learned years ago, that deceit, betrayal, and greed could never outshine the power of truth and integrity. And I watched from the shadows, quietly, content, knowing that justice, love, and patience had finally aligned perfectly. After the red carpet, the whirlwind didn't stop, it intensified. Every tabloid, every online forum, every gossip column tried desperately to dissect Lisa and me. But this time, the narrative was ours. We didn't hide, we didn't beg, we moved like storm clouds gathering on the horizon, unstoppable, undeniable. Within days, Laura and Makoto's world had crumbled completely. Their carefully curated images were shredded. Makoto's affairs abroad, the secret son, and his betrayal of Laura were broadcast across social media, television, and entertainment news. Laura, once pristine in designer gowns and red carpet lights, had become the shadow of her former self, a fugitive in her own city. Her former allies in the industry, fearing association with scandal, abandoned her without a second thought. Even the fans who had once worshipped her turned into merciless critics, dissecting every misstep, every hypocrisy, every lie. Meanwhile, Lisa's career skyrocketed. The Best Actress title she had rightfully earned became the opening chapter of a meteoric rise. Directors who had once overlooked her scrambled to offer projects. Producers, investors, and critics alike praised not just her talent but her resilience and integrity. She had survived the industry's darkest manipulations, and now she was untouchable. One evening, as we overlooked the city from our penthouse balcony, Lisa leaned into me. Her face, illuminated by the neon glow, was serene but radiant. "Mako, I never imagined I'd feel like this again. Safe, respected, happy." "You've earned it, Lissy," I replied, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. "No one can take this from you, not the schemers, not the liars, not even someone who once tried." I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. "And I'll make sure of it." We began strategizing, not just to protect ourselves but to seize the power we deserved. Using my influence and the Wong Group's reach, I orchestrated a subtle but powerful campaign to redefine the entertainment industry's perception of pure talent versus manipulation. Every article highlighting Lisa's rise also spotlighted Laura and Makoto's deceitful past, making it impossible for them to regain credibility. Then came the coup de grace. At a major international film festival, we premiered Lisa's new film, a masterpiece that critics immediately hailed as a defining work of her generation. The opening night was electric, every seat in the theater occupied, every critic on edge. As Lisa walked onto the stage to accept the award for Best Leading Role, the cameras caught Laura and Makoto being arrested outside the venue. Makoto wailing, Laura screaming, and reporters capturing every moment live. The contrast was poetic. Inside, Lisa shone, her poise flawless, her smile radiant. Outside, the world watched Laura and Makoto's empire of lies disintegrate. It was as if the universe itself had drawn a line between truth and deceit, between patience and recklessness. After the festival, Lisa and I celebrated quietly in our penthouse. No media, no public eye, just us. I held her close, feeling the warmth of a love that had survived years of betrayal and scheming. "Do you finally believe me, Lissy?" I murmured. "I believe in us," she whispered back, her voice trembling with emotion. "Not because of what we've done, but because of who we are." From that moment, we became unstoppable, not through manipulation, but through strategy, talent, and unwavering trust. We carefully curated Lisa's projects, blending artistry with blockbuster appeal, each film cementing her legacy. With me managing the business and protecting her from unscrupulous producers and schemers, she could focus solely on her craft. Laura, meanwhile, became a cautionary tale. Her name was synonymous with scandal, her career irreparably damaged. Makoto, broken by public shame and legal consequences, faded into obscurity, remembered only as the man who betrayed both the woman who loved him and the life he had built abroad. Years later, as Lisa stood on stage accepting an International Lifetime Achievement Award, she whispered to me, "We did it. We really did it." I kissed her hand, smiling. Yes, Lissy. We did. And this time, no one can ever take it away from us. We had survived betrayal, scandal, and the ruthless tides of fame. But more importantly, we had survived the past, the ghosts of Laura, Makoto, and every manipulator who had tried to destroy us. Together, we had emerged stronger, untouchable, and in love, a love no one could ever undermine. And as the camera lights flashed around us, I realized something. The story of Marco and Lisa wasn't just a story of revenge or justice, it was the story of love and loyalty, tested by fire and forged into something eternal. Months passed, and the industry had learned a hard lesson. Power without integrity was fleeting. Meanwhile, Lisa's career entered a new golden age. Every role she took was celebrated not only for her unmatched talent but for the story behind her, of resilience, dignity, and triumph over betrayal. Directors who once ignored her begged for her presence, knowing that her name alone could elevate any project into a cultural phenomenon. I, as always, stood in the shadows orchestrating the moves. From securing prime contracts to managing media narratives, I ensured Lisa was untouchable. We had become a perfect duo, her brilliance, my strategy, her grace, my protection. Together, we weren't just surviving, we were reshaping the industry itself. Laura and Makoto's fall was complete. Makoto's overseas scandals were now public knowledge, including his secret son and betrayal of Laura, which became headline news for months. Every attempt at rehabilitation failed. Producers, investors, and even former friends distanced themselves. Laura, once a queen of cinema, had vanished from public life, a fugitive in her own city, haunted by her own arrogance and the ruin she had brought upon herself. Lisa, however, was flourishing. One evening, during a private celebration after winning yet another international award, she looked at me, eyes glistening with gratitude and love. "Mako, we've truly come so far. And we've done it honestly." I held her close, feeling the warmth that had been missing in my life for years. "We've done it, Lissy. And this time, there's nothing to fear. No one can ever touch you again." The media frenzy continued, but this time it worked in our favor. Public opinion was overwhelmingly on Lisa's side. Headlines like, "From Survivor to Superstar, Lisa's True Triumph," and "The Rise of a Queen Without Shadows" flooded the internet. Even Laura's old fans began to see the truth, some quietly praising Lisa's talent and resilience. I decided to take it a step further. Using my connections, I organized a global film festival where Lisa's films dominated the lineup. Every screening was sold out. Every interview was a chance to highlight her artistry and the injustice she had endured. It was not just a career revival, it was a statement to the world that she was untouchable, that no amount of envy or manipulation could ever diminish true talent. Then came the personal victory. One crisp evening, on the rooftop of our penthouse overlooking the city skyline, I turned to Lisa. "Lissy, you've endured so much. And now, it's time for us to make it official. Not just as partners in love, but as equals in life, forever." She looked at me, her breath catching, tears of happiness threatening to spill. "Mako, you mean it?" I took her hands in mine. "With every part of me. No more hiding, no more shadows. The past is gone. This is our future." And so, surrounded by the shimmering city lights, I proposed. Not a whisper, not a fleeting moment, but a declaration of love, power, and destiny. Lisa said yes, her voice shaking with joy, and in that moment, every betrayal, every falsehood, every attempt to destroy us became fuel for our triumph. Months later, our wedding was not just a ceremony, it was a spectacle, a statement. The red carpet, usually filled with scrutiny and whispers, became a celebration of truth and love. Reporters, once poised to dig up dirt, instead chronicled the union of the couple who had survived every storm, who had turned betrayal into strength. As Lisa walked down the aisle, radiant in white, I felt a sense of calm and completion that had eluded me for years. She was mine, not as a replacement, not as a shadow, but as a partner, a lover, and a woman whose brilliance had always belonged to the world. And as we exchanged vows, I realized something profound. The story that had begun with betrayal, envy, and scandal had transformed into something eternal. Love, true love, could withstand deceit, survive manipulation, and rise from ruin. We had conquered not only the industry but our past, our pain, and our fears. Outside, Laura and Makoto were finally out of the picture. The authorities had confiscated all assets, Legal cases ensured they could not interfere, and their names became a cautionary tale whispered in studios and offices. Their chapter had ended, ignoble and complete. Inside, Lisa and I had begun a new chapter. One of creativity, passion, power, and unbreakable love. Our empire was built not just on strategy and influence, but on mutual respect, understanding, and the knowledge that we had survived everything life had thrown at us. And as we shared our first dance, the world watching and whispering in awe, I whispered into Lisa's ear, "No one will ever take this from us, Lissy. Not now, not ever." She smiled, her eyes shining brighter than any spotlight. "I know, Marco. And I'm ready for everything that comes next, as long as I'm with you." The camera lights, the whispers, the cheers, they all faded into insignificance. For the first time in our lives, we were free. Free from the past, free from envy, free to shine together. And that was only the beginning. Years passed, and Lisa and I had become legends in the entertainment world, not just for talent, but for resilience, strategy, and power. Lisa, no longer just a brilliant actress, had become a symbol of artistic integrity. Every film she starred in was a critical and commercial success. Her name alone could guarantee box office gold. I, as her manager and partner, had transformed from a behind-the-scenes ace agent into a recognized powerhouse. The Wong Group's influence, combined with my strategic mind, allowed us to not just protect Lisa but to shape the industry itself. We curated projects, mentored young talent, and ensured that no schemer could ever rise unchecked again. Laura and Makoto were a distant memory. Makoto's illegal activities abroad, his betrayal, and his subsequent crimes ensured he spent years behind bars, while Laura, broken and humiliated, remained a fugitive, her name erased from the annals of cinema. The industry had learned that envy and deceit only led to ruin. But our triumph wasn't just professional. It was personal. One evening, on the terrace of our penthouse overlooking the city skyline, Lisa leaned into me. "Marco, can you believe how far we've come? All those years, the betrayals, the lies, and now we're here." I smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "We've turned every obstacle into a stepping stone, Lissy. And we did it together." From that day on, our lives were a perfect balance of love, work, and influence. We traveled the world for film festivals, premiered groundbreaking movies, and every award, every accolade, was a testament to her talent and our unity. We became mentors to a new generation, teaching them that skill, integrity, and strategy were far more powerful than scheming and shortcuts. Eventually, our story became legend, told in whispers in studios, chronicled in magazines, and analyzed in documentaries. The narrative was simple yet profound. The girl who had survived envy and betrayal rose to become the queen of cinema, and the man who had always believed in her became the architect of her empire. On the night of our 10th wedding anniversary, I watched Lisa glide across the ballroom floor, radiant in a simple but stunning gown. Flashbulbs from the press captured every movement, every smile, yet she remained composed, serene, untouchable. I took her hand and whispered, "Lissy, 10 years later and nothing can touch us." She smiled, squeezing my hand. "Not even the ghosts of the past, Marco. We've finally won, on our terms." And in that moment, as the city sparkled beneath us, I knew it was true. We had survived betrayal, scandal, and greed, and had emerged not just unbroken, but stronger, untouchable, and united. No shadow of Laura, no schemes of Makoto, no whispers of the past could ever reach us. The entertainment world had learned a truth we already lived. Talent, integrity, and love were eternal, and those who dared to manipulate others would always fall. Lisa and I didn't just survive. We reigned. The story of Marco and Lisa, the love, the struggle, the triumph, was complete. And finally, for the first time in our lives, we could simply live in peace, in love, and in glory.